We're back with Jamil Jivani, MP for Durham. Where do you feel that the Conservative policies will help Canadians?
Well, of course, we think that we can contribute to more economic growth by moving barriers out of the way for small businesses, for medium-sized businesses. That includes removing some of the tax burden that we put on the innovators and the entrepreneurs, but also making sure that people are being rewarded. If you earn money by working hard, you should be able to keep more of it. And that's what we think is important about eliminating some of these tax burdens also. We want to have a meritocratic society where people work hard and feel like they're getting something for their efforts. And quite frankly, too many Canadians right now just feel like they're treading water and they're unable to save and grow and build something for their families. So that's a big area that we're going to make a difference on. The other area that I think we're going to make a very big difference on crime. We've seen across Canada, but especially our bigger cities like Toronto and Vancouver, big concerns about crime going up, whether it's auto theft, street level crime, violent crime. We are, of course, supportive of law enforcement, and that's a big responsibility of government. But we also need to make sure the justice system has vulnerable people in mind and victims in mind. Right now, we have a government that essentially thinks the justice system is designed for the criminal and not for the victim. And that's a change that we're gonna bring about. And I'm very confident that a Pierre Poilievre government will stop the crime, as we like to say.
Sounds to me like this is quite a Canadian first policy, and it would seem that the current government is appeasing others as opposed to Canadians right now. 6,000 UN officials will be meeting in Ottawa at the end of April to discuss that plastics treaty and a cap on plastics production. Meanwhile, this will injure Western economies. And I have heard the leaders speak to Canada priorities and not policies that the UN are pushing. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's reasonable for every Canadian to expect, our leaders to explain how their decisions make Canada better off. And we don't have that coming from our federal government right now. It's been 8 years they've been in power, and by most measures, life is getting harder for the average person in this country. So yes, every policy they enact, including the ones that are, in tandem with international bodies like the UN or their international partners like, the US government or whatever it might be, the question should always still come back to what is in the interest of Canada and the Canadian people. That is what's missing right now. And I think that's what everyone can feel it. When I'm knocking on doors and I'm campaigning, I can feel that people answer the door. And the first concern they have is, why does it feel like the decision makers are out of touch with my life? Why does it feel like what I watch on TV or hear on the radio or read in the newspaper isn't reflecting my experience? And we want to bring government back to the people so we can be accountable for the best interests of Canada.
The United Nations was founded in order to propagate world peace, not to deal with litter issues in Canada and the United States. And that's what that meeting in Ottawa is going to be all about. So I think your message is a good one. I think Canadian sovereignty is very important. And I'm hopeful that you will be able to change the direction ever so slightly when it comes to that. And again, we're a powerhouse when it comes to energy. We're a powerhouse when it comes to manufacturing. It would be great for the government to help manufacturers export their products around the world and use our resources effectively. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, manufacturing is not only critical for the growth of our economy, it's also critical for our independence as a country to not be dependent on other nations to have some of our most crucial goods and services. But it's also important for us to have good paying jobs, which is a really important thing that's missing in a lot of our economic analyses these days. Is, are we creating jobs that are good, where people can earn enough money and have a stable enough income to provide for a family and buy a home and have the life that they dreamed of, which was for many, many generations the promise of this country. And manufacturing is key to getting us back there. Same is true for energy. In my riding of Durham, we're very big on nuclear. We have a nuclear power plant, Darlington, that employs over 3,000 people. And we believe that this effort by the Liberals to put free markets against the environment, to put free markets against what's good for Canada, is misguided. You can grow the economy and care about the environment at the same time. And the dichotomy that they're creating is hurting Canada by and large.
Very good point. We'll come back to that thought in just a second.